All right, you guys, I'm going to show you how to use your graphing calculator in polar mode. Okay, so typically we've only used radians and degrees. So if you guys will hit the mode button on your calculator, okay, when you do that, remember whatever is backlit on your screen is the function that your calculator is currently operating in. Okay, so I'm going to keep my calculator in radians, so that's okay. But then I'm going to scroll down to the next row and you're going to see function, parametric, polar, and sequence. If you are using an older version of the graphing calculator, you're only going to see the first three letters of each of those words. So you're going to see fun, par, pole, and sequence. Same thing. All right, I'm going to scroll over till I see polar or POL, and I'm going to press enter. Okay, that's going to convert my calculator into polar mode now. So I can quit this menu. So I'm going to hit second mode to leave that screen. Now what it's going to do, it's going to convert everything that you are normally using on your calculator into polar. So the biggest difference you're going to see when you go to graph your equations, okay, and you can do that by hitting the y equals button, okay, and you'll see now that everything says r subscript 1, r subscript 2. In rectangular coordinates, where these r's were, you would have seen y's because it would have been in a rectangular system. So for example, for the problem that we did before, where we were converting our rectangular equations to polar equations, we had an equation that said y equals x minus 3. I'm going to graph what we got in the polar system. So I'm going to create a fraction. So I'm going to hit alpha y equals to get my fraction setting. And when we converted that equation, we got 3 over cosine. All right, now I need a theta. Now that theta is going to be where your variable button is. So where you normally press to get x, now you're going to press that button and you're going to get theta because you're in polar mode. Minus sine theta. I'm going to close my parentheses. And then I want to see what this looks like. So I'm going to hit the graph button. Okay. And you'll see that we got a line. All right. So if we would have graphed this in the rectangular system before, we would have also gotten a line, but now we're in the polar system and you can see that we also get a line. Okay. All right. Let's clear that out. Okay. All right, so let's try to graph the other one that we got. So the other equation that we had, we were given a circle in the rectangular coordinates. Now let's graph that using polar and see if we still get a circle. So I'm going to punch in +2 and I'm going to hit graph. And it's super, super small. So I can hit the zoom button and I want to zoom in. And you guys can see that there's my line and there's my circle. Okay, so like I said, you can always check yourself to see if you got the right answer after you've converted it from rectangular to polar, because the shape should be exactly the same. Okay, so just make sure you're in the right mode and you should have fun graphing.